how's it going? It's Grace here. So I have my earphones in today. I think the sound quality is a little bit better when I film videos with this because it's closer to my mouth, and plus I'm outside right now and listening to, you might be able to hear that little bit of that buzzing from all the bugs around here. But this is a video I've wanted to do for a long time. I have one more semester in nursing school. After that, I plan to work for about a year or two, maybe a little longer, maybe a little less, who knows, and go on to get a degree in certified nurse midwifery. So that would open up a lot of opportunities for women's health, which is something I'm very passionate about. I love it, and it's something I've been fascinated with since I'm a little girl. So I wanted to give my tips. I have an interesting approach to nursing school, but there are a few things that I found really helpful along my journey. You know, I'm not super rigid. I can get the job done, and there are some parts of me that are very type A organized. But as far as being the girl with the, color-coded highlighters and everything always perfect and printed and bedtime, and that is absolutely not me. I'm kind of like, I just need to know what I'm doing tomorrow. The rest will figure itself out. God's going to take care of it. And so my first tip, I guess you could say, it's just a tip for everything, not just nursing school. I guess it would be just really staying connected to Jesus and keeping that line of communication really open. There are just so many raw moments I can think of over the past 4 years where I've just had to get on my knees and cry out to God and say, I cannot do this. I need your help. I need to know that you're getting me through this. And that was kind of my thing from the beginning. I loved nursing, but I didn't know. So I said, okay, if you get me through, I'll know this is from you. And so really just keeping that simple devotion and keeping Matthew 6:33 is my scripture. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added. Anything we can need on this side of heaven. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but just knowing that if this is where God has me, he's going to get me through. And that faith, that anchor, is really, I would sometimes pray. I know this sounds crazy, but in the test, I would be looking at a question and not know the answer and pray, and God would give me the answer. So what can I say? It's in no way has been my strength getting me through this process. So obviously, keep your relationship with the Lord, or develop a relationship with the Lord, and really just cling to him for everything in your life. And that's just the key. It just is. Some other things I found really beneficial are, number one, I'm going to put pictures too. These have been tools that have been so helpful. Starting in my Med-Surg 1 and pharmacology class, those two we took together, and that was my second semester of clinicals, so we do 5 semesters of clinicals at my school. I figured out about this online program called Picmonics, and what Picmonics basically is it takes conditions, it takes medications, and different other things that a lot of times are in the curriculum that we have to learn as nurses or as nursing students, and it will it'll associate words with different pictures. So like a beta blocker is a beta fish. What it is it'll create this picture that teaches you in a different way the etiology, or it'll teach you all these side effects and the benefits of a certain medication in this picture. And so it allows a different, I guess for me, it allowed me a different way to learn the material and something to reference back to. So the way that I used it, and there are so many times I was in an exam and I would be struggling and think back to a Picmonic and get the answer that way. You'll learn that there are a lot of things that are, there are main medications that you really want to know. So having those ones memorized was really beneficial for me. So the way that I used Picmonics was, after I was so fed up with studying and I felt like I could not read another thing, I would go in my Picmonics on my computer. Now you do have to pay for it, and I'll put the link below if you want to get your own account in Picmonics. I think they might, I'm not sure, you might have a certain amount of time free at first, but listen, if you are a visual learner, Even if you just need a creative way to learn, I would recommend trying it because it has been so fantastic for me. So back to what I was saying, when I was so fed up, I would just put on the Picmonic videos and just watch them because it felt like I was just watching a TV show. You know, it was kind of a way to push myself beyond my limits. And I found with nursing school, that is the name of the game. It's just kind of one big mind game. You're just trying to figure out, how can I push myself a little farther? How can I learn this information just a little bit better? And Picmonics was a way for me to do that. Another thing that I have found incredibly helpful, just again with the mind game component for me. Now, there are some people who are super organized and super disciplined. They might never need to use things like this. But for those of us who need a little help, this app called Focus Keeper, now this is a free app, has been really helpful for me. So what it does is it times you in study sessions, and the study sessions are 25 minutes, and then you get a 5-minute break for 4 rounds, and then you get a 30-minute break. So for me, it would help me when I was kind of at my wit's end, or if I was at the end of a really hard clinical day and you're exhausted a lot of times, you're like, there's no way I can study. But then I was kind of like, well, I can do 25 minutes. So then I would put on my little Focus Keeper app. It would time 25 minutes for me and then give me a 5-minute break, get up, run around, go to the restroom, get a drink of water, or check your social media. You're not supposed to do that, but hey, you know, it is what it is. And then I'd be like, okay, I can do one more. And it would just kind of keep going like that. It was kind of just a mental game that I could play with myself to get more studying. It's based off of some research that says that 25-minute focus sessions are the best for your brain and retaining things and just being able to keep your focus the whole time. So I would highly recommend. That's just something free. You can just try it out. Go download the Focus Keeper app. It sounds stupid, but I have recommended this to several other people, and they have found that they loved it as well. This was, I think, the last thing I wanted to talk about is it's like a video. It's the same concept as Picmonics, except for it's like a whiteboard, and they draw out the different things with diseases. Like, for instance, we were learning, just got out of my maternity and peds rotation, and there's a lot about hearts and atrial septal defects and things like that. And I remember I went and learned, and then preeclampsia, different conditions related to pregnancy. There were videos on Osmosis that I would watch them and just understand the information so thoroughly after watching the video that I didn't even really need to study it again. They were just really well done. They covered all of the important things that you needed to learn. And when you're just reading and reading, sometimes you're not building a concept, and it would help me to build that concept. So Osmosis, it's one of those subscriptions that you have to pay for, but it was super helpful for me. So the last tip I wanted to give is not really like the other ones I've told you, and it's basically just this. If you're going into nursing school, there will be lots of people around you, and everyone will have a different way that they like to do things. A lot of people will love studying groups. A lot of people will love flashcards. A lot of people will do blah, 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 blah. And you might feel insecure at first because you're thinking, none of that is working for me, and I actually don't like to study around people. And my advice to you is just to get everyone else's stuff out of your head and give yourself the freedom to learn the way that you learn, to develop and grow the way that you develop and grow. If you get a bad grade on a test, you still have 3 tests, I think it was for us, or however many tests to bring up that grade. Don't fall into the thinking of, I'm kind of self-limiting. I can't do this. I'm not set up for this because this is how I do things. This is how I've always done them. Give yourself the freedom to grow and learn the way that you grow and learn without other people's garbage in your head. Because a lot of times, you'll talk to someone and you'll feel super discouraged after because they might be way better or they might be really struggling, and you compare yourself. And comparing yourself ultimately deprives you of the opportunity of seeing, I guess, really what you're made of, or, what God has put on the inside of you, the ability that He's given you to get through. So with all of that, if you are in nursing school, I applaud you. I am so excited to be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but at the same time, I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and we'll be sad to see it go. So please give all those things a try if you're struggling. Let me know if it helped you at all, and I will talk to you later.